Here we go. Welcome to Shoot the Defence. I'm your host, Stel. I've got 4 guests. I'm going to go with Steve Eyre, got Rhodri Giggs, got the returning Simon Cox and Katie McDougall. Welcome, boys and girls. See, did that.
Hi, Stel.
How are you feeling, Steve, after your team's fantastic weekend?
Yeah, like that Ready Brett glow the kids advert used to have a long time ago. I feel good. Springing my stride this morning. Never get bored of beating United. Never get sick of winning at Old Trafford, watching it. And the team have just managed to do something different again under the manager. Whereas, you know, all the good stuff we've seen in recent years, including beating United, I don't think there's been ever a fixture so dominant to one side, the away team. So ridiculous stats, unbelievable football, and obviously the right result and clean sheet.
I was listening to Nader Manua on ESPN earlier today, and he was saying that before the Shinawatra came in, I think City hadn't won at Old Trafford for like 28 years. Now, City being dominant at Old Trafford the way that they were at the weekend, your phone, you must have been texting everyone, every United fan, no?
Don't
lie to me. Don't lie to me.
Stay classy. I mean, if you saw Phil Foden's interview at the end, it was just like he'd had a walk around the park. And United, it's a tough place to come, but Keane dismantled that interview by saying it's just disingenuous, really, albeit a great lad. It was an easy fixture. It was easy for Liverpool. It was fairly easy for Aston Villa and Everton to have a go at it. And obviously for City, the thing that, I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder in anything you're going to say in the show, but I actually think it dismantled United completely, because if they'd have won 5-0 City like they did, United fans would have gone away. Well, we've already felt that type of pain when Liverpool did that to us. But we won the game in a different way. We won it 2-0, but it was the control of the game from start to finish and how easy it was to win and to play football. And to think that every single player touched the ball before the second goal went in, it's just embarrassing for the physical contact of Manchester United.
Rod is sitting there thinking, fuck's sake.
Well, he's my mate and he knows his football.
No, you know what I was thinking? Even when we used to batter him back in the day, you'd still have people like Jeff Will. You'd still people putting their foot in and getting stuck in. There was none of that on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll go into that in just a bit. Simon, how you doing, mate? You right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, thank you.
How's sunny Essex?
It was all right today.
Yeah?
It was all right today, yeah. It was quite nice.
Excellent.
It's quite. It's always sunny down south. It's never that side up north. I know that.
And is it? Don't you kind of follow Liverpool? Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, man. See, and things. I wanted to do a show like after Liverpool beat Man United, but I was in Cyprus, so I cancelled that show. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know.
Next time Liverpool win, you come on though.
On the week, Liverpool get beat.
Listen, come on. I'm not Mystic Meg here. I didn't know they were going to lose.
Listen, I think the thing is, one thing that I would say is that momentum's massive in football. Don't matter who you are, what team you support, anything else like that. And West Ham are absolute, desire for that right now. They just have full momentum right now. Everything that they do seems to turn to gold, and good luck to them. But I don't see them anywhere near the top 3 by the end of the season. So let them have their glory for right now.
Just get off Twitter after this one. You're gonna get a lot of West Ham fans coming after it. We know where you live.
They do. Some do as well.
Oh, Jesus. Katie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, what is your question? What do you want?
How are you?
I'm good.
What do I want? I want you to talk football. Okay, we won't talk about which team you support just yet. I think we'll go into that when we talk about that team. But let's start with the Manchester derby. Blimey, I think Steve summed it all up. But so let me ask you this question, Rod. Was this beating worse than when City beat United 6-1?
Yes. He touched the ball for about 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes. It was an embarrassment. It was embarrassing. You watch it like that. It was just... Yeah,
it's from the first whistle, though.
No, second half was they just got better. And I'm pretty sure if they would have... It was like back in the day where United had levels. City, if United was scored, they just, you know what, we're just going to pummel these. and they could have easily done that. But yeah, it was poor. It was, and it's not necessarily down to the manager. That's players. It's just a lack of courage, sitting off, and then you've got the old crap with all the teams doing the social. Stay off fucking Twitter. Shut up and just win a game and work hard. Shut up. It just irritates me to death, and it's not just like a small. Eric Bailly put his own goal on Twitter.
No way.
Put his own goal on
Twitter. Was it him or was it his social media team?
Oh, come on.
They've all got them though. All of them.
Yeah, but come on. You don't put your own goal on Twitter saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." Come on.
Did you see David?
I'd say if you put your own goal on Twitter when you was playing, you went into changing, you'd get hammered. Yeah. You'd get hammered.
Roger, did you see David De Gea's?
Oh,
did he come up with a poem? Did he speak to Ander Herrera and Juan Mata?
He's hit his hand on the tunnel.
Yeah, I am hurt.
Yeah, it's just just enough of the words, just actions now, just no words. Stay off Twitter.
Great, I agree.
All right. Well, before we go into that, because we've got a lot to say about social media. In terms of the game itself, City were dominant from the first to the last whistle. I think they made over 800 passes, which is absolutely ridiculous. To be honest, that's like City anyway, because they pass teams off the park, so to speak. But as soon as the first one went in, I thought, shit, this is going to be like Liverpool again, isn't it? Because City was so comfortable. And you guys who know tactics better than I do, I saw United playing with a 5-3-2 or 3-4-2-1, however what the fuck you want to call it. But it just looked like every time the ball went out wide to City's wide men, whether it be the fullback or the wide players, the three midfielders at United were either too slow or too thick to track any runners. Was I just seeing things? Steve, Simon, Rod, Katie, someone?
Or they didn't want to do it.
Ah, right. Okay.
You've got somebody like Bruno Fernandes, who's a number 10, and you're asking him to potentially track a fullback or get out for let's say for the first goal.
Fernandes is no good anymore. Fernandes, since like week 4 of the Premier League, Fernandes has done sort of nothing.
Since Ronaldo's turned, I was a bit starstruck, isn't he?
Yeah, and also Ronaldo's not done much the last couple of weeks. They're big names, but they've done
Champions League.
I traded Fernandes out of my Premier team like weeks ago, and I've been better for it. He's not done anything since about week 5 of the Premier League. He's sort of fine and average, but he's not done anything brilliant for weeks.
But is that because of the role that he's playing? Because as Simon said, being played as a central midfielder against Man City, he's effectively a number 10. He's an attacking midfielder. You don't expect him to do any. Well, you wouldn't expect him to chase a fullback anyway, but that's what he was doing. He was kind of on the right side of a midfield.
Yeah, he could do brilliant things, and it's not necessarily his fault that he's not allowed to, but he is pointless now. Fernandes is pointless in the league at the minute.
Okay.
I think there are Fernandes, Ronaldo, there are big names that are a waste of everybody's time now. It's little people, sort of Antonio will make Livramento is doing brilliant things. I think the big names now are really wasting everybody's time.
Well, from an FPL perspective, right? Because I don't know how much.
Mainly from a fantasy perspective, yeah.
There you go. So, Simon, you're talking about the defensive side of United. I mean, it's almost as though chasing shadows, mate.
Yeah, like I said, the first goal, I think if you look at the first goal, and Fernandes is obviously looking at Wan-Bissaka to get out and stop the cross. But predominantly, you'd look at Fernandes, and he needs to help anyway. But because he's a 10, he's a forward-thinking player, he's not going to do that. So it's a fine balance between needing someone to do it and wanting someone to do it. And he very, very good going forwards, very lackluster going backwards. So, I think United at the minute are in a real bad place. And, coming up against a team like City, who, as you said, made over 800 passes, who look really, really well coached, who look like they know exactly what they're doing from minute one. But I'd ask this question though to Steve, that with the way that Liverpool put United to the sword and won 5, why didn't City do it? Why didn't they go out and make that statement and say, you know, we can pass you off the pitch, 800 passes, no problem. But why did they not go and get 5 goals?
Well, I think, showing it complete courtesy, Simon, that David De Gea has made 4 saves before City had scored. Yeah. And they were absolutely like out of the top draw. I think we've hit both sides of the post. Jesus has broke down the right-hand side and not squared for Foden twice. So I think that on another day would have been a cricket score. I think it would have been more than Liverpool. So as much as I give David De Gea a bit of tap for his social media activity, he was amazing up to the point of the second goal, where you possibly would think he could have been done better, not expecting it at the far post. But what I would also say as well, it'll always come down to that, as you know yourself, these false number 9s that are at the moment De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, who are actually 2 of the best midfield players in the world doing the job. So at times they can help you win the game, play ever so well, but nobody who actually is, incisive in getting a last touch of a ball because they're not close enough to the goal. Someone like yourself in the box who would know all about that, but obviously a proper centre forward like the one we've lost, Aguero, and the one we nearly got in Kane. So I think that's every time City don't get a cricket score, Simon, I think it'll always come back to the fact that we've not playing a centre forward, but they did have enough chances to get 10.
But the thing is, don't you think United struggled to cope with Gundogan? Because Gundogan was absolutely fantastic.
He's brilliant. He's the amount of, I mean, it's a gift. And again, I refer to Simon with a good career, but it's all right having the heart, the legs and the lungs to run in the box. But, and Frank Lampard did it. But Gundogan just runs in the box free of charge all match. Nobody ever seems to pick him up. He's ghost-like. And that's why he got so many goals last year. And he's such a world-class footballer himself. But the amount of times he's free in the box is an absolute gift. I don't know how you coach it.
But that comes from allowing, like, he knows that he's got Rhodri behind him.
Yeah.
That he's got a good base where he's able to go in there knowing that. But what City do really well is what United don't do, is that when they lose the ball, they get around that ball as quick as possible. They win the ball back as high up the pitch as possible. So they're in a good position to go attack again or regain possession and dominate the ball.
Well, Simon, I thought I'd be a little bit different because it was obvious that City played well. But my big post, if you like, was to suggest that I don't think I've ever seen a football team take the ball off their position as frequently and as quick and as fast as City took it off United at weekend. It was scary.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And the thing is, Pep didn't even need to make any substitutions. It was so comfortable. It was almost like a training match. But Rod, what I want to ask you is this system that Solskjaer has implemented, the 5-3-2. We saw it work at White Hart Lane. Got United out of jail. Well, he doesn't say got him out of jail against Atalanta because they switched to a back 4 when Varane went off injured. But he chose to go against City. Now, how can you keep playing a system where you've only played a couple times against a team like Man City, who they can have most of the possession? What was the game plan here from a defensive aspect? Because I didn't see much going right.
For me, you can't play 5 against them. They don't play with centre forwards, so basically you've got 3 people, not mark anyone, and then you've got two centre midfielders that are not great on the ball and off the ball. So
good point.
It's because it works so well at Tottenham. They've just gone, you know what, we'll go with it again. But Tottenham are a totally different side to Manchester City, so surely they've not had that thought process of thinking, you know what, it's worked Tottenham, let's go with it again. Because it's like chalk and cheese, City and not Tottenham, and Tottenham and not City. It's just, and you've got Fernandez, working hard, trying to do everything, and it's just not coming off for him, and he ends up having a bad game. So the formation, it does come from the top, because you can't play that system, not against them, the way that the fullbacks are so wide and how our fullbacks are so narrow. even though they should be out there as wide as they can. So it's just, and then when City win the ball, they just keep it, and then United just couldn't get it back. It was literally, and it must have been soul destroying for that team walking off. Soul destroying.
The thing is, when you hear United had more shots on their own goal than they did at City's,
it's just embarrassing.
I just like, wow. I mean, that's, and the thing is, this was coming, wasn't it? I mean, Liverpool should have been the rocket up the arse that they needed, the 5-0 loss, right? And while that's not acceptable, you can say, all right, they were handed a pounding against Liverpool, but all right, you learn from your lessons, you switch things up, and all right, damage limitation. But they couldn't even do that. And before the game, I was thinking maybe they should go 4-5-1, like what Fergie used to do at the Etihad. Go 5 across the midfield, right? Have more solidity in the middle of the park, because De Bruyne and Silva were dropping deep, collecting the ball, doing whatever they want. Gundogan the same. And you mentioned earlier about how you can't play 3 at the back against City. Well, last season, Steve pointed this out, in fact. Against Wolves, City lost, who played 3 at the back. Against Newcastle, they lost, playing 3 at the back. Against Chelsea, they lost, who played 3 at the back. But that's
they've worked on it and played it for months. United have only just started it. And because they played against Tottenham, a weak, poor Tottenham side, by the way, who was struggling, who couldn't get a shot off themselves, that's who would beat. If we played, say, a West Ham or an Arsenal, we would have got torn apart. It's just lucky enough for us that we played a Tottenham side that were poorer than us on the day.
All right, so what happens now, United? Because today we saw a report from Sky Sports saying that, the Glazers are going to back Solskjaer. They're not going to sack him, yada, yada, yada. Today, Rio Ferdinand has put out a message on his podcast saying maybe it's time to pass the baton. Maybe. He's not saying that to get rid of his mate, but maybe, just to play it on the safe side, Rio, because we know how Rio is reliable with his comments, but let's not go into that, shall we? So, boys and girls, is it time for, okay, I think it's time for Solskjaer to go, but I don't think he will go. If he doesn't go, how worse is it going to get?
It's going to be something, it's the same. It's an Americanized version of something that's basically as bad as what you've got now.
Or what you mean, like Back to the Future 2 or 3?
You're going to get a manager that's roughly as bad as you've got now.
Right, okay.
Maybe vaguely more American, but you'll get basically the same as you've got now.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They're not going to bring in someone who's managed in Norway and Cardiff City. So that's not going to happen. They're going to bring a quality coaching and quality managing. But they've done that before. They've done it with Mourinho. They've done it with Van Gaal. So it doesn't necessarily work. So
what do you want? What would you like? I know you said like quality manager, but who would you like?
It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. But personally, I would want Brendan Rodgers, someone who's a really good coach who can make players better. So will he come in with his Liverpool connection? So, but I really don't know. So I really don't know.
The thing is, you say that, Rod, but I think, okay, we talk about the problems starting from the top with the Glazers, and I know I'm going to get caned for this, but with Ferguson around, with Darren Fletcher as the technical director,
but you've got people like Rio though, and you've got people like Gary Neville with his soapbox saying, "Oh, this is going to happen," or "They can't do this now." He's basically their soapbox on TV. So he's basically saying, "Oh, you can't stop Solskjaer. You can do this. You can't do that." And then you've got Rio jumping shit. Oh, which he's sitting on the fence, or he's not sitting on the fence. Rio, which one? Maybe or maybe not. Which one's have a yes, or you want to, or you don't want to go? It's no maybes. It's have a yes or no. So I wouldn't want it in my ship anyway. So it's just, I want him as the manager because I want him to succeed. Will it happen? I don't think so. But I don't want him I want him to be my manager and I want him to succeed. But like I say, will it happen? I don't know. But I don't want him to get sacked. That's the last thing I want. But if it did happen, then you can't argue with it.
Simon, I don't know if you remember when Liverpool in the early 90s weren't winning league titles. They had Roy Evans, they had Graham Souness. I seem to remember the likes of Alan Hansen and Mark Lawrence on the television. There were a lot of Liverpool pundits, even like you want to talk about Ian St. John. They weren't afraid to tell it like it was. Okay, then they didn't say it with as much ferocity as pundits do these days because they're very outspoken these days. But even then, they tell it like it is. You know, if Roy Evans wasn't doing a job, they'd say it. So why are these players protecting their mate? Is it because it's just their mate, or they don't want to ruin the, I don't know, the awe of Man United? They don't want people to think, oh, Man United are a cycling club now, because they are.
No, it's their mate. That's it. That's the be all and end all of it. It's their mate. They've been in the dressing room with that person for, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, whatever it is. They've won trophies together. They've, done so many things together. The last thing they want to be seeing is saying he needs to go, he needs to be sacked, and that's it. If they were being true and being honest with themselves and with Manchester United fans, they want somebody else in. They just don't want to come out and say it, and that is the be all and end all of it.
I think you've got with the ex-players, the most damning one was Michael Owen's one, because
I've never seen him like that.
Yeah, he was spot on though. He was spot on, and you could see Paul Scholes next to him squirming, but he was spot on.
I agree.
Spot on.
Did they play together?
Yeah. For
like a year or so, or a couple of years or so. So I mean, they're not. Well, they wouldn't be like big mates, though, would they?
I don't think Ollie played with him. Did Ollie play with Michael Owen?
No, Michael Owen and Scholes played. And
Scholes did Michael Owen.
Yeah, Scholes, but Michael Owen and Ollie didn't play together.
No.
So so it's easy for him then. One ex-Liverpool side, one ex-Manchester United side. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit easier for Michael Owen to come out and say
Michael Owen just guested for Manchester United. He scored in the epic Manchester derby in the last minute, and that's what he'll be remembered for. But not be remembered for too much else. He just guested. He's a Liverpool icon. He'll be more than happy sticking it up United or telling the truth.
Yeah, well, that's it. So that's all that Michael Owen has done there. If Michael Owen had been at United for the last for 5, 6, 7 years with Ollie, he wouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
I'd probably guarantee that he wouldn't have said that, because none of his former teammates have said it. So why?
Keano was on the verge of it, saying, "Why are you playing Fred?" That's not good when you're saying, "Why do you keep on playing this player?"
He said he phoned him. Didn't he say he was speaking to him during the week? I think he said like live on Sky. He was like, "Oh, I spoke with Ollie, and he said he felt like players let him down in the Liverpool game." Well, surely. In that phone call, listen, no one's privy to that phone call apart from those two, but surely in that phone call, he's probably turned around to him and gone, listen, you need to get rid of him, or he doesn't need to play. And surely he would have said that. He's the most outspoken person in the world. Like, let's get it right.
Yeah, but then it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's conviction or lack of it, to the whole support base suggesting that Fred shouldn't be playing. Maguire is a bluffer. Shaw is a bluffer. Keane is saying it on national TV. You're damn right he'll have said it on the phone call. But at the end of the day, they all got picked at the weekend in a Manchester derby. So
Stes, but if you watch the game, Fred's not holding midfielder. He's playing more forward. So why? I don't understand. He doesn't give you a pass. He don't get you a goal. So I don't understand why he keeps on playing him.
I can't judge this Van de Beek, but if what you're saying is right, Rod, well, I'm sure it is. If he is playing further forward and not a holding midfield player, then you may as well play Van de Beek or Lingard.
It don't make no sense to me. I don't know, but I don't know if you guys saw that tweet earlier about the Sports Pro influencers, and they interviewed someone from Man United in their social media team, and they're talking about fan sentiment. They have these boards and this bit of information, and they tell the players what the fans are saying about them. I mean, for Christ's sake, if you want to destroy a player's confidence, just show everything that they write on Twitter about them. Fuck it, bad enough that they're on Twitter themselves. Jesus, what is going on?
They probably only look at the pictures, don't
they?
Well, why would you, after a game like that, the last thing you'd be going on is Twitter. The last thing, because there's some characters on there, there's some savoury shit that I've got to say. So, and most of it's not nice, but it is amusing. But are these the type of characters to look at it? And I don't think they are. So This is just it.
Just to remind all as well about Harry Maguire last year against Sheffield United, where he was brought up. They got beat at Old Trafford by Sheffield United, and by 11 o'clock at night, presumably he was home. He put on his passing stats and that he had a 95% pass completion, and it was a good night for his passing. And they've just been beat by Sheffield United at Old Trafford. The whole thing.
I've seen an interview recently. He says, "Oh, we don't worry about stats. We don't look at stats."
Exactly, I saw it too. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't. He's obviously not got a good memory, and that's the same with Ferdinand.
So obviously, someone else has put that up and not him.
Possibly.
Well, that is the thing. It's that they'll have social media companies that look after their social media, so they won't remember, or they don't have the emotion of the tweet. So as a player, I've been in dressing rooms with people who have had those things, and they've put things out after the games, and you just think, what you doing? Like that's not. You need to sort of take that one down, and they'll turn around and go, "It's not even me," and you think you kind of need to have that ownership of your own Twitter, even if you're not the one posting.
Yeah,
your social media company. Don't even know why you have one, but your social media company needs to at least send it to you and say, do you think this is a good tweet? And do you think it's the right time to tweet this, or put whatever it is out there? And you get the final say. They're obviously Harry Maguire, if he has got a social media company, they've just gone tick, 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 and said, thanks very much. We'll stick that out and we'll deal with the fallout.
Like someone in admin who's dealing with the stuff, but they don't know the results. But that's a good stat. 98% put that up. Oh,
lads,
got beat.
I think Phil Foden had the same problem. I think he was a bit loose with it and allowing people to do it. I think there was a disrespect of was it Neymar or somebody? There was a little bit of disrespect.
Mbappe, wasn't it? Yeah.
And there was also rest in peace, Colin Bell Nijinsky. You know, always a hero of mine growing up. Like Colin was like, Colin's in his 70s and Phil Foden was 21.
But who was the boy? Who was the player? Was it a couple of seasons back, a good few seasons back, who someone had sent him the tweet and he just copy and pasted the tweet and put it out there. But it had, "What do you think of this?" And then
I remember that. I can't remember who it was. I remember that.
So like it's what they do. Like that is just what happens. Like it's just mental. But you have to, if you're gonna listen, you get smashed in the derby, whether it's 5 or whether it's 2, and you get absolutely battered on the pitch. Yeah, rein your Twitter back in, give yourself a breather from it, and just either delete it for 4 or 5 days or whatever, and then get to the next one and build up the atmosphere for the next game. Fine. But after a big game, even if you've played terribly, relax yourself off Twitter. That's
You're just going to get abused.
Well, why would you put yourself through it? Do you know what I mean? Not even just yourself. Like it's not even you. It's your family, everything else. Like
because they're the ones that read it.
They all read it. Do you know what I mean? So,
are you then not going to get nailed for not being consistent and only putting something on when you win?
Possibly, but ultimately, what's what do you want to do? Do you want to read? I'm the kind of person, or I was the kind of person when playing. Don't get too high when you're high, and don't get too low when you're low. And if you've had a great game, don't be like, "Oh, I'm the best player in the world." And when you've had a bad game, don't be like, "Oh, sorry to the travelling supporters." You know what I mean? So you can't be like that. You have to be like, well done to the lads today. Great performance. On to the next one. If we were rubbish for the day, look. We got another game. Good thing about football is we got another game coming up. Yeah, we'll try and put it right this week.
Find a positive.
You just got to try and at least spin it in a way that sort of makes you and the team look okay. But after getting smashed up, 2 out of the last 3 weeks by 2 top sides, it's probably Twitter's not your best friend at the minute.
Yeah, fair.
It's the worst thing you could possibly have. And I saw Gary Neville mentioning Marcus Rashford, how well he's done. I'm sitting thinking, Marcus Rashford doesn't even control his own Twitter, for crying out loud. He's got a team that does it for him. You think Marcus? Yeah, but look how many tweets Marcus Rashford puts out a day or a week. Do you think he's actually got?
Yeah, but I'm reckoning it's his brothers though. So his brothers will probably have liaison. Is this okay? So they'll probably have that communication because it's his brothers that are doing it.
I guess. But at the same time, it's not him controlling it all the time.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I just think that obviously, look, these agencies make money out of it. Obviously, they are providing a service, and for the amount of engagements or views or replies, it enables them to add promoted tweets, and it makes money for them. Basically, it's like clickbait.
When I was watching that video when he sent it before, it just reminded me of like, is there an election coming on? It reminded me of politics, and it's just like, what? It's just mad.
I don't know. Well, look, speaking of mad, let's move on. Liverpool lost to West Ham 3-2, and Jurgen Klopp lost his shit at a BBC report. Did you guys see this? No,
I saw the reaction to it. Yeah, I didn't see the interview or the question.
The BBC report was asking about, obviously the first goal, which came from the corner, foul on Alisson, maybe it wasn't, and Jurgen Klopp was saying any other country it's a foul, and they were talking about an incident with Henderson, and maybe it should have been a red card, and the report asked the question related to that particular incident, and Klopp looked at me, he goes, "Am I your puppy?" It's actually like saying, "Are you fucking playing with me now? Are you fucking serious?" But Simon, the 3-2 victory, 3-2 loss for Liverpool against a very good West Ham team. Okay, Alisson was probably at fault for 2 of the 3 goals. The third one, I don't know what Trent was doing. It goes back to the whole zonal marking thing. I'm not a fan of zonal marking, but Trent was the nearest player to, was it Zuma scored the winner?
Yeah.
Well, it turned out to
He was behind him though. He was like 4 yards behind him. What are you doing?
I thought it was Mane.
Was it Trent?
Mane was marking him, and where he's come into the space to head it, Trent Alexander's behind him. So Trent Alexander really couldn't have done anything.
Yeah, but I think as part of the zonal, Stel, you have obviously people in zonal position, but you also have disruptors, we used to call them, and blockers. And the distance between Mane and Zuma was about 5 yards. You get a run at 6'5" against a 5'11" player. And you've almost got to get into a clinch with these guys. You see it. It's like a grapple. And Mane is 5 yards off Zuma. How is he allowed to run towards the goal without being blocked? He shouldn't have even got in Trent Alexander-Arnold's area. I had it at Mane for not being close enough to Zuma.
But you mentioned the athleticism in terms of the jump. What about the physicality? Because Mane doesn't look like a wrestle out of a paper bag.
Well, no, but like Sterling and Bernardo Silva, they come back and get hold of the other team's big players because the ball is going to go in, and City defend where they think the ball is going to go. So Diaz and Stones, they're marking zonal across the 6-yard box, and the small players go and lock onto the big players of the other team and basically stop them running. They're not, Bernardo Silva and Sterling aren't there to head the ball against the likes of Zuma. They're there to grapple with them and stop them running towards the box, and that's what Mane didn't do.
So is that Sterling work by the set piece coach, Des?
Oh, come on.
Well, City's Sterling work. Well, when he gets on the pitch, yeah, but I was just using them as an example, of course. But you watch Bernardo Silva comes back and marks the biggest player on the other team, not to edit, just to stop him running. And I believe that was Mane's job, and he didn't do it. Just maybe watch it again after the show.
Yeah, I think they got a warning just before, didn't they, when they hit the bar as well?
Yeah,
Dawson and
Rice, yeah, Declan Rice,
they got sort of in each other's way, and they end up hitting the bar, and then all of a sudden, similar thing happens, and they end up scoring. So,
gents, I really like the fact that West Ham are scoring from set plays every game, almost it seems. Yet there's not one single mention of a set play coach. It's being talked about by David Moyes and possibly Kevin Nolan. That's how it should be.
Well, Stuart Pearce was big into that, wasn't he?
Well, Stuart Pearce is at the club, so is Alan Irvine. So there's a bit of experience there, but you get the feeling on the shop floor it's the manager first and foremost, because he's been, Tim Cahill at Everton used to score set plays, and the Everton guys. But West Ham are scoring a hell of a lot of set plays, but you don't hear about these guys from university who come out with laptops and files, and the Aston Villa one, who were celebrating the fact that someone can throw it in the box long and 2 centre-halves go up and have a fight for it. These are proper corners going in, proper size attacking the ball by a manager who's just had 1,000 games. That's how it should be.
Yeah, they've got great delivery. Fornals put a great delivery in, and then you've got Zuma, Rice,
Dawson.
Dawson,
The centre midfield is a big unit as well.
Just like Antonio sniffing about, all people willing to stick their head in,
Yes,
and get hurt.
yes.
And it's not clever. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's stick it in the box and go and head it. And that goes for the other way as well. You know, defensively, get back, stick your head on it, get it out of your box, no problem.
Yeah, it was a good delivery as well. Back stick.
What about the first goal
Keeper,
then?
you'd still like.
What about the first goal then? Because I'm not going to lie to you, I thought it was going to be given as a free kick, in all fairness, because goalkeepers are very protected. And Simon, as a striker, I'm sure you'd be very frustrated if that was given against you.
Yeah, but I'm of the belief that your goalkeeper can use his hands, and no matter how big you are or small you are or how high you can jump, you can't jump higher than somebody that can use his arms. So I think Alisson, if he feels like he's going to be under pressure, bearing in mind he comes from behind, so it's not like he's reaching over or anything else like that. Like he sees everything. So why on earth does he not? If he feels like he's going to be under pressure, just punch it. You know, like if you try and catch it and you get caught. So, you know, listen, I think it would have been. I feel like Liverpool would have got away with one if it had been a foul.
You expect that from continental goalkeepers as well, isn't it? That's what they tend to do. They don't like to catch. It's mostly just punching it. So
yeah. But I think he's very confident I think, listen, he's probably had it's a bad day at the office for Alisson. Like you said about the third goal as well, it goes sort of under him and everything else. And I just think he had a bit of a bad day. So we'll allow him one day out of 36 games.
I never have any sympathy for the goalies. Never have any sympathy for him. None.
I don't like him as a striker. I don't like him either, but I just think he just had a bad day at the office for that one.
Well, these days they get well protected, and going back 10, 20 and 30 years, there was an old saying that, you know, when they used to catch the ball and bring that knee up and catch you in the ribs with it, they get away with just something just short of GBH. Yeah. So if it ends up going in their net, I have got absolutely no sympathy whatsoever. None.
Address the awkward silence here.
What about you? Any chance you get to smash the keeper, you did it.
Yeah,
because they would do it to you, no problem.
In the old days, it was more so because they didn't have a sub goalie. If you could smash Ian Wright when he used to go in on Schmeichel, they didn't have sub goalies. So you do the keeper if you can, obviously within the laws of the game, ideally. But yeah, you never waste a chance to do the keeper in the old days because they never used to have a sub goalie. But I'm sure that still means something to centre forwards, because if you get it right, there's a goal for you. And if they have to put the sub goalie on now, it's probably a rookie or an ancient pensioner at the end of his life, end of his football life.
Wasn't it Andy Dibble that burnt his thigh on the pitch? Wasn't there some kind of chemical on the pitch and it burnt his thigh? Was it Andy Dibble?
Well, it possibly was, because he was capable of the odd incident, but he was the one that we all remember.
Gary Crosby.
The George Best incident. You know, we'd not seen it since, where he had it out of his hands and Crosby scored out of his hands. Yeah, but it could have been him because he was capable of an incident, a good character.
So, Simon, what does this mean for Liverpool? Because obviously there was a fantastic fight back at the end and they were quite unlucky not to get the equaliser. Klopp was obviously livid because of the refereeing decisions.
Mane had a great chance.
Mane has to score. He has to score. If Mane scores and you come out with 3-3, I think Klopp runs back onto the bus and says, "Thanks very much. We'll go back up to Liverpool. Thank you very much."
So if you want to talk about Liverpool's momentum at the moment, obviously good victory at United was followed up by, who did Liverpool play after United? Was it Watford?
Atletico as well in the Champions League. Yeah.
But it's not looking too bad, to be honest, because defensively, all right, okay, apart from the goalkeeping errors, I think Van Dijk did very well against Antonio. He did very well, you know. Okay,
it's the best he's played for recent weeks. I think he's been a little bit lazy sometimes in his defending, but I thought he was at his best again against Antonio. I think he had to be as well. Antonio is one of those players. He's big, he's strong, he's unorthodox. He puts himself about. He's a little bit sort of clumsy in the way that he moves, but he gets away from defenders and he makes it difficult for him. But Van Dijk, I think he dealt with him really well. at the
No,
weekend.
they've dropped 5 points. They've dropped against, your next United manager, Graham Potter. And West
Cleaning
Ham.
up as well. That
Yeah,
one.
they drew against Brighton, didn't they? Yeah,
Drew
right.
against Brighton, yeah.
But they're 25, 26
2-0
games
up.
unbeaten before this one.
Pardon?
They're 24, 25 games unbeaten before this one, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they were flying against Brighton as well, and then obviously Brighton have got a goal and they've come back, but they've got a good result against Atletico Madrid. But West Ham, like I said, if Liverpool would have got 3-3 there, it just would have been snatch and grab that, because West Ham were well-deserved winners.
All right, well, let's talk about Chelsea. Unfortunately, Katie's had some technical issues and she's gone.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't
it? Convenient. I'm joking. 1-1 draw against Burnley. Steve, blimey. It was kind of like the Alamo before Burnley equalised, but again, 1-0, dangerous scoreline, lapse of concentration at the back from Chelsea, which is quite unheard of, really, if you think about how well they've been playing defensively, especially with Thiago Silva and Rudiger there.
Yeah, just wondering, like we touched on before, and Simon got stuck into about, struggling without a centre forward. Werner was very much hit and miss, or maybe, but the pace was frightening still. And you just thought he'll come good, but he is a presence on the field. We know that Lukaku is one of the best centre forwards in the world. And I think Havertz, despite scoring in the Champions League final and scoring a textbook, run down the wing, cross, getting between two centre halves and head it past the goalkeeper, it was wonderful. But you just get the feeling that they dominated without any real predator on the pitch for them. Loads of talent. They keep rotating the centre backs. They keep rotating the full backs. They keep rotating the midfield players. Ross Barkley came in and they dominated Burnley, but they didn't stick the knife in and take the game away from Burnley, who we know, and I've watched them 6 times live all year. I'm not really impressed, but they never go away and they'll keep running till the 90th minute, and that's what they did. And he had the nerve to actually suggest he could have actually gone and won it. He laughed about it, Sean Dyche, but they were in a little 5-10 minute spell of pressure to get their own equaliser. So they deserve it for being plucky, but it's all down to Chelsea not getting that second or even that third or fourth goal.
And this is it. When you're a goal up against a team like Burnley are one of those teams that if they got 10 minutes of pressure against you, they're always going to create something. It might be a half chance, but when it comes to half chances, they're probably the best at converting them, aren't they?
Well, that was proven. And Vidra is a goal scorer in a team that doesn't create much chances. Chris Wood's numbers are really low at the moment, but it came from an unlikely source. But I think they were encouraged by the fact that, once you get to 80 minutes, you can't throw the game open. Well, it was a bit less, but against Chelsea. But the fact that it still was only 1-0, it gave Burnley some extra encouragement than they already have. And they just thought, well, we can have a right go at this now because the time's running against Chelsea anyway. Let's have a go. But Chelsea will be really rueful on the goal difference count when they look back. If the league is as tight as we expect it to be, not only have they dropped points, they've not capitalised against a team in the bottom 3.
Simon, obviously Lukaku has been a big loss to Chelsea in this game anyway. The 2 Burnley central defenders must have been laughing their asses off when they saw his name not being on the starting lineup, no?
Yeah, but I think they would probably have relished that that fight against Lukaku. Tarkowski, big, Ben Mee size, but just enjoys that fight. So when you don't have that person, they probably it would have been a better day for them. Listen, it would have been a tougher day for them, obviously, but listen, when you don't have somebody like Lukaku in your side then drops down a little bit of a notch, and you're not as powerful. So that's what Burnley would have looked at that all week. They would have trained not to have the ball. They would have trained, under duress of attack after attack after attack. And then when you get the chance to go and attack yourselves, make sure you make it count. And as the guy said, it's possibly something that could have ended up with a Burnley win if Vidra would have scored the lob over Mendy. So it's they're not a bad team, Burnley. They do what they need to do. They know how to get 40 points, and they get it every year, pretty standard. So I don't think they're in any chance of going down this year. I think there's other teams around them that in more of a bit more of trouble.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of them very quickly, Rod. Norwich, they beat Brentford 2-1. Unexpected victory, but I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw Daniel Farke at full time, I had a feeling he wouldn't be in a job the next day, because you think after so many games not winning, he'd be, punching the air, being very vocal, very, just out there like most Germans are when they teams win games. You see them punching the air and all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything like that. He just applauded and then walked on the pitch, said thank you very much, and that was it.
He seems a bit of a placid guy, a quiet guy, doesn't he? But
what are you saying about Daniel Farke?
It's good for him. He's gone out on a win, but it's just weird. You think if they'd done that, they'd have someone in place to come in straight away, but they've not even got that. So yeah, it's a weird one. Why you'd sack someone after a win, but they're at the bottom of the league.
Because they don't know when the next one's coming. That's
I think the decision was already made, Rod, and I think it would probably have been too close to a match day to sack him. But the decision would have been made, I believe, on the Wednesday, the Thursday, and Friday, regardless of the result. And the fact that they got 3 points adds to a little bit of curiosity, but actually helps them. It's a bonus 3 points that they would have still gone ahead.
But do you not think that if you're saying that, shouldn't they have already had the manager in place if they do like a week ago? Or
I think they probably have. But it's just the lads have trained up to a certain. There's no point. This is crucial. This international break now. It's where managers get sacked at the top level. It's a 2-week break from the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has gone back to Norway to see the family. Everyone goes off for the teams if they've been picked. But it gives time for the clubs to get a bit of breathing space. I don't believe there'll be such as an interview process that will just give them time now for a new manager to come in. He'll get announced, I imagine, 8 or 9 days before the next Premier League fixture, and there'll be that man will come in and have an 8-day build-up of training going into his game, as opposed to sacking him on Thursday last week and a manager coming in on the Friday morning for shape and set pieces and then saying, go on then, try and beat Brentford, which they actually did. So I think this 2-week break now is crucial. That's why the guillotine nearly always comes out.
Steve, yeah, I forgot it was the international break.
How much do you think?
Sorry, Stel. Do you not think though with that though they would have just appointed him now? Because you look at, I know it's obviously the Championship, and you look at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough sacked Warnock straight after the game, and I'd imagine they appointed Chris Wilder about 5 minutes later.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go against it, Simon. That it's only my opinion, but it could be tomorrow. And I'm really liking the noise of Frank Lampard, because I think he belongs in English football and he belongs in the Premier League. He might have to go back to the Championship with Norwich, but it'd be great. He's the one that we're hearing strong noise about, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if by lunchtime tomorrow or the day after he's appointed. And if that's the case, he's got 12 days before the next play again, and he's got a chance to get his teeth into the job.
Yeah, well, I think that's the best thing, giving him more days, like the Eddie Howe one. He's now got loads of time at Newcastle to get his players in. Probably won't allow, like the ones who don't go on international break, he won't allow them to have 3 or 4 days off. It'll probably be like, look, you can have 1 or 2 days here, 1 day there, but majority of the time we're going to be in, we're going to be working, we're going to drill down what we're going to be doing. And I think whoever goes in at Norwich, if it is Lampard, it has to be as quick as possible, so he gets the most amount of time on the training pitch with as many players as possible.
I hope it is him. I really do.
I was about to ask if you thought it was going to be him, because we know that John Terry left the Villa job, the coaching role, a few months ago. And, Villa haven't been great defensively since he's left. Norwich need tightening up at the back. Frank Lampard pretty decent on the counter-attack.
Jody Morris is in number 2, isn't he?
Well, no, at Chelsea?
No, Frank Lampard.
No, but what I'm saying is John Terry left Villa, didn't he?
Yeah, the defensive record wasn't great before. I've seen that today. No, it's something that Jack Grealish leaving. No, that's not got nothing to do with it. I know they've had a good start, but no, it's not been great.
Oh, you're talking about Villa now? No.
All right. I thought you were talking about Villa, sorry.
No. I'm just saying because Terry left the role at Villa.
I don't see him partnering with Frank Lampard. I think he wants his job, a manager's job for himself, to move on now. He's been number 2. I think he wants to run his own shit.
Okay, Fair enough. Well, apparently Darren Huckabee is the odds-on favourite, 6-1.
For what?
Apparently, Darren Huckabee.
For Norwich manager?
Yeah, 6-1.
He got sacked out of their academy.
I don't know. I don't make up the odds. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Hughton gets it again. It wouldn't surprise me. It's a merry-go-round.
Frank Lampard would be a good shout. Difficult though. It's not easy though. Won't be easy.
What price is Real Fox?
Ooh. Well, he's doing charity runs at the moment, so I don't think he's gonna
Jeremy Goss, there's one for you.
Because he's Welsh.
Yeah. Or Efenakuku, is he in the running?
Efenakuku.
Mark Robbins?
Chris Sutton, is he a manager?
No, he's too busy talking about Celtic on radio.
Yeah, he's a wind-up merchant.
Hey, listen, just give it to Rio Ferdinand. He knows everything about football, isn't it? Fucking idiot. Anyway,
Rio Ferdinand won't last 2 minutes, the manager. It's nice and comfortable in that studio.
No, he'll give everyone baseball caps with the number 5 on it. Say, here you go, boys.
He will last 2 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybes in football. It's either black or white, yes or no.
True. All right, let's talk about another team that got rid of their manager. Aston Villa lost to Southampton 1-0. Simon, I didn't see that coming so soon with Dean Smith getting the job. He's a Villa legend. I thought they might give him a bit more time, but I guess given we discussed this last week, and obviously last season the phantom goal that wasn't given for Sheffield United, had that had Hawkeye been working, Villa probably would be a championship side now. So I guess it was going to come, but again, I still think a little bit too soon. That being said, as you mentioned, international week. Surprised with the sacking?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think after the sale of Grealish and the money that's come into the football club and the players that they've bought, they probably would have expected to be doing a little bit better than they are. Albeit second season back in the Premier League, and you're sort of looking at it going, it's tough. The second season, for them. So, I mean, I was surprised, but. To be honest, not a lot of things surprise me in football these days. So again, I'd like to think that they have somebody ready to go if they, now they've sacked him. I expect them to have somebody ready to take over, even if it is till the end of the season, just as a stopgap.
They were played off the park, though, weren't they, by Southampton? It was a very convincing performance. I know it was only 1-0, but.
Yeah, but Southampton are they're that team that sort of threaten really good performances and sort of sometimes deliver and sometimes don't. So, they're very hit and miss. And this one, they were a bit of a hit.
Rod, what about Armstrong? He's coming to the Premier League first season and he's scoring some bangers, isn't he?
For Southampton. Yeah, he did well from last year, to be honest. I like the look of him last year. So, Shea Adams looks half decent. It's like Simon says, though, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get with Southampton. I've seen them get beat 9-8-0 in the last couple of years, twice. So, but they are a good side. So when they're on their day, but Villa are in that kind of position now where they've got new owners, they're putting money into the club, don't want to be down in that relegation spot. So soon they've smelt a little bit of trouble. They've seen it last year. We don't want to go through it again. And they're just cutting ties, and you're probably going to see that at a few more clubs now with these owners, and especially at Newcastle, if Super Eddie doesn't sort it out.
Joe, I'd be interested to see how Southampton do under Hasenhüttl with money, with decent money to spend, because he's used the money wisely. He's brought in people like Carl Walker-Peters from Spurs. He brought in Livramento, who's been a revelation this season. Obviously, Armstrong from I think it was Blackburn, if I'm not mistaken. Shea Adams. They're all good players. So if he had a war chest, I think you would talk about Southampton possibly pushing for a Europa League spot.
Yeah, like I say, he's a good coach.
Simon's not shaking his head or what? No,
with the players that he's got, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult.
Well, they're 3 points off Brighton in the 7th.
I think they'll be nearer the bottom than the top, and he's actually been.
If he had money to spend, if he had proper money to spend.
Yeah, but that's never going to happen at Southampton.
That's what I'm saying, hypothetically.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's a good coach. I think if he went on to a decent club with money, that he'd do well. He's the kind of the Tuchel, Klopp-esque manager. I think he's
conceded 9 twice.
yeah. That's not I've just said.
It doesn't help you, does it? How's your CV? Yeah, our biggest defeats 9 twice. Yeah,
They'll be near
I just think that if he'd have, let's say for instance he'd have got the Newcastle job, right? And sometimes when you're a player, sometimes it's not about the club that you're signing for; it's the manager that you sign for. You know, how many times people sign for that manager because he's a really good manager. They know what they're going to get with him from him. Do you sign for somebody? If you're like a Philip Coutinho, would you sign for Ralph Hasenhüttl because you know he's a good coach, or would you go to like Newcastle because Newcastle are paying you massive money, and it doesn't matter who the coach is?
Well, many players joined City with Mark Hughes.
But that's my point, is that they sign because the money. They're not signing because of the coach. That the coach is sometimes irrelevant, but some people do also sign because the coach is good. You know, you look at somebody like who goes to Leicester with Brendan Rodgers, but they sign because Brendan's a really good coach and they know they're going to get really good numbers from him and he's going to help them develop and everything else. But then would you sign for Man United for Solskjaer, or would you sign because it's Man United?
Well, Ronaldo's signed because it's Man United. He has signed because it's Solskjaer. He wants to work with him, doesn't he?
That's what I mean. So, you know, just because Ralph Hasenhüttl was a good coach doesn't mean that you'd sign for him. You'd sign potentially for the club, or you might get the other one who signs because he's a good coach.
No, and as a player, if you go into Southampton, you know what they playing for. They're just playing to stay in the league every year. Do you want to do that?
No, I was talking if he got job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
All right. Okay. That's a good segue to the next question then. Newcastle drew against Brighton, Super Brighton with Super Potter. But Eddie Howe's been announced as the manager of Newcastle. Rhodri's been doing cartwheels all week. He's got his Eddie Howe boxer shorts on. I said 2 years ago that he'd be the Newcastle manager one day. I'm just saying. But what do you guys make of this? Because this is a manager who comes with a pretty decent reputation, albeit, you know, Bournemouth went down and they did spend a lot of money on certain players like Solanke, who, okay, fair enough, he's doing well in the Championship, but didn't do well in the Premier League, etc.
Burnley either.
Who? Eddie Howe? Yeah, he was there for
He's been like 4 months, didn't he? 3 months?
Yeah. But the thing is, I heard that he didn't like living up north because he's homesick. I'm thinking, how far north do you want to go?
He's going to have a shock in Newcastle, right? Because you get chased with penguins on a daily basis up there. It's that cold.
He was my neighbour, so you're not saying much for where I live, if that's the case.
Well, that was the story that I read, that he was homesick and he just wanted to go back home to Bournemouth, and he got the job again, didn't he?
Yeah.
But in terms of Newcastle, I think it's a big task for him. Now, I'm not saying that he's not good enough to do it, but given the players that they've got and the system that he plays up, they can do it, they can stay up. But, you know, I think it depends on keeping Callum Wilson fit, which is, I guess, is a given because he's the guy that scores their goals, right?
Absolutely. Let's not forget what Steve Bruce did at the end of last season. You know, they rallied and they got players fit again and they went up the table. They stayed up safely. And it was the Newcastle fans suggesting that the football wasn't good. He's a dinosaur. We're bored. We're not going anywhere. They will be absolutely, like, they would do anything for the position that Steve Bruce finished them with last year to be in that position again at the end of this. So they've got to be really careful what they've wished for, because they've wanted him out and got him out. And now they don't. Now nobody knows what's going to happen. Whereas he got them safe, sound, secure, solid, and away from danger with plenty to spare last year. It won't be like that this year.
You'll get them playing 20 yards further up the field, but whether they can defend is a different story.
It could be a circus there, you know. If they say they don't win their next 5 or 6 games, they could bullet him for Christmas and can bring someone else in. It could be a real circus there. He's under real pressure there because they want to go only one way, and that is up with the amount of money that they're going to pump into it and the owners that they've got. Now look at City. You know, they didn't mess about. You know, some of their managers did really well for him, but you know, they wanted better, and they did every time they appointed someone.
He's only a stopgap, though, isn't he? He's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a no win.
He's there. He's there for 2.5 years, whatever it is. Even if he doesn't last that, but he's there. Do as well as you can. Try and keep him in the Premier League this year. If they don't stay in the Premier League this year, he'll stay. I'd say purely and simply because he knows how to get a team out of the Championship, and then all of a sudden, when they come back up, they'll hit massive something.
Simon, do you really think if they went down, they'd keep him?
I think they've given him for that, Rod.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you really think they've really thought they've got a chance of going down? And
oh yeah, I think they think they've got more chance of staying up because it's not Christmas. They're a huge club, and they're not, they stayed up last year comfortably. Or like I've just touched on with Steve Bruce, they'll more expect to stay up than go down. But if they do go down, they'll think they're covered with the manager they've just chosen.
I totally disagree with that. I think that they'll just think, you know what, we can't be having this guy if he's got us down. They've got 28 games left or 20 odd games left.
Yeah.
Listen, I think they'll stay up, no problem.
And with you saying that with Steve Bruce, who was a crap manager there, saying they're rubbish, and he kept them safely in mid-table, and this guy's come in and got us relegated with funds at Christmas.
I think they'll get enough points at home with a better style of play, brilliant set plays that Eddie Howe has. I know that from studying him myself. The crowd, who obviously can't score a goal, but they can help you. And as Stel says, keeping Callum Wilson fit, which let's just hope and presume they do. I think they'll get enough points at home to stay up.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the noisiest places I've been. It is when they get going out there. So if they get the crowd behind them, they get a few games on the belt, a few wins, they could be flying because it's a good place to play football.
Well, Rod, they've signed it up to a 3-year contract. Not that means anything. But if they do go down, obviously it's going to hit them financially. Not that it matters to the Saudis, but I'm talking about as a company. But the thing is, let's be 100% honest. There's another guy at Bournemouth that's doing a pretty decent job that knows the club very well. I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Parker walks in if Newcastle go down. That's my guess.
Well, he's an ex-player. Ex-player.
Yeah, ex-player as well. Another player manager that I liked at Fulham, liked the way he spoke. But even, he did get relegated, but you could see the progress. You could see he was making Fulham better, and they just weren't good enough in the end. But yeah, I did like Scott Parker as a coach when he was in Premiership Fulham. I mean, he's doing really well at Fulham. I mean, Bournemouth, sorry.
Well, look, we're talking as if Eddie Howe's on a hiding to nothing straight away, and I think January.
He is though, isn't he, Stel? Come on, let's have it right. He's under massive pressure, so he needs to do well with them. Because
he's under massive pressure because of the takeover. If there wasn't a takeover, I don't think he would have been under as much pressure. But January is
of course not. No, of course not. But when you've got an owner who's got 320 billion, he only wants to be one way.
Well, of course.
Go one way.
So what are we looking at in January? Because obviously he's going to bring in players. Are we talking about 3 or 4 players or 5 or 6? I can't.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
As many as possible. Yeah.
Well,
and we're talking about
starters
like Lingard, the quality of them players.
Okay.
I think Tarkowski will be number 1 on the list. They need a centre half. He's in the last year of his contract. Burnley have managed to hold on to him to stay in the Premier League. James has not signed anything because he wants to better himself, you would think, and I think that would be heaven sent for both parties.
But there you go, though. So you just said there you're going to sign for Newcastle, right? He could have signed for Leicester
and West Ham.
But so he's going to go to Newcastle on the basis of what? Eddie Howe or the money?
The club,
the Arab money.
The club and the money, and Eddie Howe as well, but not for the first reasoning. No.
So
he's going for size of contract, length of contract, size of club.
Yeah. So
probably double wages
and keep him in the north.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay. Which match shall we quickly touch on? Let's talk about Everton Spurs. A lot of controversy in that one. Ended 0-0. Antonio Conte's first league game in charge of Spurs. Do you know what? He's such a fucking brilliant manager, man. I know the result obviously doesn't show it, but Spurs got a clean sheet, which is a start, because they can't seem to keep those. But again, there was a penalty not given for a supposed foul on Richarlison. Simon, when you saw that, what was your first instinct? Do you think that was a pen, or did Lloris get enough of the ball?
No, he got a little bit. He got enough. You got enough for me.
Yeah.
I would talk about the
red card.
Oh
Wow.
oh,
Oh,
that is horrible.
yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, that was cold.
Yeah, that.
That's Holgate, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was bad.
He had a nightmare,
Right.
didn't he? Because wasn't he to blame for the Wolves goal, the back pass that he made last week?
That was
The one that signed from Brighton. What's his name?
no, that was the boy. Keep going. I'll come back to it.
No, they're comparing that with. They were comparing it with the Creswell tackle.
No.
It was totally different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
You don't
if
think-
Creswell's got the ball and it's like his foot's bounced up onto him.
You don't think Creswell's just sending off?
No, he's got the ball. I think he's got the ball, and because that they're both at the force of the ball at the same time, the ball sprung up and he sprung his foot up and hit his knee.
Yeah,
That's on my thought of it.
I think Creswell's is a sending off as well, because I think with Henderson, if Henderson's foot is fully planted and the weight, the force, we'll never know the force of it, but I think at any stage, if you go over the ball, you're out of control. All of a sudden, your foot, your studs hit somebody else's knee. That really.
But that's my point, though, Simon. I don't think he did go over the ball. I think he got right at the middle of the ball, and then the ball like sprung his foot up, and he's got his knee. That's how I seen it.
Yeah, so he's out. Then he's out of control. Do you know what I mean? And that's where that's then becomes a bit of an issue. And I think with the Holgate one, he's gone in, and that's naughty, that one for me. Whereas the Cresswell one, I think is just the way that he's come away from the ball and whatever, and it's now just his legs have just gone in a completely different direction. He's not in control of where his legs are going, and they end up going right up against his knee, and I
think it helps that Henderson got up straight away.
Yeah, that shouldn't help. That shouldn't be
it shouldn't. And I think if it goes the other way, where it's sending him off, and then he goes to look at the cameras, he doesn't reverse his decision. So it's it's one of them grey areas, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So who's more aggrieved or who's more pissed off at the 0-0? Spurs for hitting the post near the end, or Everton for not getting that penalty and not converting their chances? Because I think this was a game that always had 0-0 written all over it, given Benitez's defensive stubbornness and how Everton have been shipping goals recently, and how Spurs have just got a new manager and he just wanted to tighten thing up at the back. I don't know.
I think Spurs scored all their goals during midweek, didn't they?
Yeah,
got them really early, and then they went into that game, and it's a completely different game for them. But I think you're right. 0-0 was probably the result of the weekend for them. It was the one thing that they probably could have hoped for. It was clean sheet. It shows probably what Conte had been working on all week, is defensively getting Dyer and Davis and all their back five all sorted, making sure that they were all settled, ready to deal with Richarlison. So I think he'll be more happy. I don't think he has a concern about going forward with Son and Harry Kane and stuff. I don't think that's really a concern for him. I think defensively, that's where Antonio Conte will earn most of his money.
All right, lads, let's finish it with one more game. Arsenal beating Watford 1-0. Fucking Aubameyang, I put him in my dream team. He missed the penalty. Great. I took out Lukaku after 2 weeks of not touching my dream team. I thought, let's put Aubameyang in. He's going to score a goal surely against Watford. He gets a penalty, and anyway, whatever. But again, a bit of needle in that game. Ranieri complaining that Arsenal didn't give the ball back, and Arteta saying we're an honest team. But a few weeks ago, people talking about Arteta being possibly the first man on the chopping block. But here we go, Arsenal very close to top four. What the hell's going on?
Momentum.
One game a week. Is that what it is?
Momentum. Yeah, could be, Stel. Good point. That's a really good point you've just made. But players coming back into the team, all of a sudden you're watching them now and they've got legs. They're running between the two 18-yard boxes. They're getting closer to people. Saka's got another 15 appearances of maturity. Smith Rowe's got another 15 appearances of maturity. And it just looks like their time of progression. Not enough to threaten the big boys, but enough to get away from the nonsense that was they were serving up 2 months ago.
Ben White seems to be settling down as well.
Done he? Yeah, really does.
Yeah.
Steps forward nicely, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. All the way up to the 18-yard box.
How he is not in the England side before Mings is,
We can ask why is Greenwood not in the England squad. You can ask why it takes 4 or 5 midfielders to come out for Smith Rowe to be put in, because Smith Rowe was outstanding again, a player who we've been waxing lyrical about.
The kid for Palace as well.
Gallagher. Scored,
yeah, really good. But Maguire's there.
No, I like it. Arsenal. Is it Travers?
Yeah, brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
Absolute rapid as well, isn't he?
Well, the left back Tavares, the benefit.
Tavares.
Yeah.
The thing with Tavares, I've noticed, I'm not convinced. I've watched enough to know if I've actually nailed this, but Tierney's brilliant, but plays for like left back, left wing. But this Tavares goes into midfield. He goes into the centre circle. He goes inside. He goes outside. He's taking up different lanes. A different athlete altogether.
Yeah.
That's got Guardiola's fingerprints all over that, my friend.
I saw. I can't remember what game I saw Arsenal play, and he ran straight through the middle. He was, I think it was like a 2v1 or a 3v2 or something that was happening, and he just burst through the middle, and he was going like a rocket. And he didn't get the ball, and he ended up on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he had to run back. But I swear to you, it was as if it was the first minute of the game, and he was fresh as
train.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's definitely someone to.
Yeah, he is.
Someone will, I think, take off of them in a few years' time if he keeps progressing.
Yeah.
What about Smith Rowe then, gents? Proper footballer there, man. Proper footballer.
Yeah. Well, he's a Grealish type that doesn't want to hang around on the wing, and but when Grealish tries to become a number 10, he can't do it. Despite the 100 million tag and the talent, but Smith Rowe's playing off the striker in those central areas. He's doing it. Lingard was good for West Ham last year as a number 10, but you have to say Maddison was good last year at Leicester as a number 10, but you'd have to say now that the best number 10 in the Premier League is probably Smith Rowe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And he's only gonna get better. Then.
Yeah.
See it. He's only gonna get better.
Yeah.
But he shows no fear, though. That's the thing. He's not afraid to try different things. He doesn't let his head drop. And for a youngster, that's important. That's very important.
All true.
Yeah. I think obviously with not giving the ball back and it ricocheted to him and everything else that would do it sort of felt nicely for him, didn't it? So, but listen, composure in front of goal, even his goal against Leicester, top finish. So he's been an absolute star in the making for the last sort of towards the end of last year, coming into this year. Sort of
we play them soon, don't we? Do we play Arsenal soon? We play in a couple of weeks, don't we?
Yeah, after
United have got Watford next, isn't it?
Watford then Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, I've been asked. That Troops has asked me to do his podcast with him.
Troops.
Yeah, Troops.
Come on.
live while the game's on.
Come on, the game, Plaid. Come on. Hey, ask him if you can buy your ticket to America, and then you can do it. Say to him, I'll do it in your studio with you.
Big Rod studio.
Yeah, exactly. he didn't want to be in the same playing place as me when we're winning, and probably I don't have in the same place as him if he's winning. So, yeah.
Oh, bless him. Leave him alone. Poor guy. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been an absolutely brilliant show. Simon, thank you for jumping on again. We'll have you on next time Liverpool win. I promise, which is probably after the international break, so don't worry about that. Steve, cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
We're getting Katie on as well. Stes was enjoying Katie before she went.
Yeah, we'll get her on.
Yeah.
No problem. I don't know what happened.
I hope the communication line link is improved for her computers. All right, is she okay?
Yeah, she's fine. I sent her a few different links to this Zoom thing, but she couldn't get on.
You missed off a number or changed another number at the end, didn't you? That was the thing.
Why would I do such a thing? I don't have that in me. I do it to Rod. I wouldn't do it to anyone else. Right, boys and girls, that's it for another week. So until next time, bye, Rod. Sorry, mate.